So this is the WILDR Ski Quiz. And over the last 2 years, over 500 of you have filled it out to find your physical superpower and kryptonite on the ski hill. But I've never actually analyzed the results until today. But before we begin, if you want to compare yourself, click through the link in the description below. The quiz takes literally 2 minutes or less, and then come back here to watch the rest of this video. Now, the quiz works by ranking you in 3 different categories or traits. And we're gonna take a look-see and see what the average skier who's done the quiz looks like. But I wanna take it one step further, and I challenged myself to show you in the weight room how to use one exercise to improve or train each of the 3 different traits. So first, let's define these 3 traits that the quiz tests for. And when I created the quiz, I named these, and instead of using sciencey jargon, I decided to use names that you could easily visualize. So the first trait is your ability to ski all day. We're talking early load, skiing through lunch, catching the last chair just as the lifty is flipping seats over. If you have the ability to do this and you don't find that your technical ability or your precision or your energy fades throughout the day, then congratulations, you score high in strength endurance, and I have knighted you an all-day shredder. The second trait is all about being able to ski top to bottom, no stop. If you're high in this category, you're not backing down from tough conditions, and you can trust your legs to push yourself technically. We all feel the burn during a long run when we're skiing, but if you're strong in this trait, that burn feels a little less intense and it doesn't make you stop. You have this ability, you have strength and anaerobic capacity, and I have nicknamed you the big mountain skier. And finally, if you feel like you have power and precision for single hits, if you love studying a feature and then focusing for that 5 to 10 seconds to do that feature, or if you love being in the park and exhibiting maximum power and can handle the big forces that come with fast turns or with park skiing, then you scored high in the power trait, and I've nicknamed you a powerhouse. Now, one thing you might notice about these categories is they're not mutually exclusive, meaning you could score high in all-day shredder and also have great power and be a powerhouse as well. Now, when I made the quiz, I thought that people would have one clear top category that they fit in, one trait that they were really strong in, and then maybe the other 2 would be lagging equally. But what ended up showing up in the results is that most people have one trait that they're strongest at and one trait that they're weakest at. And that leads me nicely into talking about our results. But first, we need to listen to Alicia back here tell us a little something about interpreting results. And that is, as always, your data set will greatly affect the outcomes you get. So this is the average of the people who have done this quiz, which are all people, from what I've experienced, who are invested in improving their skiing, are curious both about the sport and how to get better at it, and curious about themselves. So remember that as we go into our results. Now, the most common weakness, it turns out a lot of times, a lot of us stray away from harder moves on the hill because we are nervous about having the power to hit a feature or handle tough conditions. The powerhouse was the most common kryptonite, but it was quite close. Take a look at this. 35% versus 32.5 versus 32.5. Now, honestly, the most common superpower is what surprised me. We'll get to that in a minute, but I wasn't surprised to see that a lot of people needed to work on their power. The truth is, power is the first thing we lose as we age, unless we work in the gym to maintain or improve it. And the side benefit to working on power in the gym is it's going to help improve the condition of our tendons, the reaction time, our balance, and also our brain to muscle connection. Now, using a rear foot elevated split squat, which is one of my absolute favorite exercises to use for skiing, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3 steps away from our raised surface. The higher that is, the harder this exercise is for range of motion. And the deeper we go, the more difficult this will be. However, we only wanna go as deep as we can without our hips dipping or rotating to try and get towards the ground. So strong and smooth, down, and then for power, up with speed. When it comes to choosing a weight for these, you might think heavier is better because we're only doing 1 to 3 reps when we work on power. But we want that movement speed to be up. So honestly, most of the time, we're not gonna be lifting more than 60% of our 1 rep maximum, and we wanna be going down with control and then up with power. When we're done our 3 reps, that's when we get to rest. And when you're working on power, you take a lot of rest. Let's say my 3 reps took me 10 seconds. I wanna rest 40 seconds all the way up to 120 seconds before I start my next set. And that's because we want to maintain the output, the speed of these reps for every single one of them. Now, the quiz actually gave you points towards what your kryptonite was and then points towards what your superpower was. And I was most surprised to find that for most people, their superpower was being a big mountain skier. So let's use the rear foot elevated split squat to work on becoming more of an all-day shredder. And when it comes to that, we want to maximize our strength endurance. We're still using less weight, but we are increasing our reps all the way up to 15 for some exercises. Now in our 8-week ski program, we actually do this thing called exercise regression, where you do one version of an exercise and then you do an easier version and then you do an easier version to really work on strength endurance. But when it comes to this, we want to move more slow and controlled, and we want to just keep repping these out until we get all the way to 15. And when you're done your set, rest is a lot more scarce. We only want to rest about an equal amount of time to the amount of time it took us to do the reps. So let's say it takes me 30 seconds to do my reps, I'm only taking 30 seconds of rest in between my sets. And you gotta be doing more sets of these. So even if you start with 2 sets as a minimum, you can build up over time as you get better to even doing 5, 6 sets of strength endurance work. Now there's a cardio side to building your strength endurance as well, but I'll save that for another day. And if you want to build all these capabilities without having to dig into the specifics, then you want to jump on the waitlist for our 8-week pre-ski fitness program. We've gotten great results for a ton of skiers with this program, and the waitlist gets early access to sign up. Now, as I said before, these results are based on a small subset of skiers, people who are actively, looking into skiing on the internet. And they're curious both about the sport and about how to get better at it for themselves. If you're watching this video, you probably share that curiosity. So comment below, how did you compare to the results of the skier quiz? And if you still haven't taken it, what are you waiting for? Fill it out below, and let's get ready for the best ski season ever. Have a wilder week, and let's talk to you soon.